And we are live. I think. Let me check as usual that we are on. One, two, 1, 2. Let me know if you can.
1, 2, 1, 2.
We're all right. We're all right. So, let me get the comments. Yo, GM. We're going to discuss some interesting things, and I'm going to give some context to, as usual, comments about impermanent loss, blah, 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 in which I've got a lot to go through. This, what a weekend. So if you didn't know what it was on about, if I get it up. It's a lot of green today, to be fair. A lot of green in the markets today. And that is because we had a lot of red yesterday. So if you bought the dip, well done to you. But in a week, a lot of red. Still over a year, there's some gains, quite a bit down. But what I actually wanted to discuss was this. This pool that I set up a couple of days ago, I think. We're on $64 now, earned $28 daily rewards, APR 313%, 880 monthly rewards. Not too shabby. It's around 3,300. People will say, well, Matt, at the start of putting this pool open, what happened was you had more dollar value. And that is true. I had more dollar value. But what I want to talk about is the impermanent loss situation and how this visually works with liquidity pools, and 99% of people don't understand them. They have a hard time understanding how this works. And this is covered in one of our modules in the group. And it is the main worry that people have when getting into liquidity pools. They worry about this, which is impermanent loss. And the actual key word within this that people don't actually look at is impermanent. It's not permanent, impermanent. An impermanent loss happens as a result of a few things, which I'm going to cover. In the last presentation, we went through this, and this still stands, trust me. I went out the weekend, and the typical person will only go for this. And again, this meme stands the test of time. Oh, I'm not showing it. Sorry, one sec. This meme stands the test of time. The guy with the barbecue, and pretty much normal people are only interested in the savings account with 2.5%. And Netflix and the usual working till 70-year-old. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. But I don't know about you, but I'm interested in using my crypto and yielding it, just like you can see here with the new pool I've set up that is earning $884 a month. And I'm going to keep adding to this. And maybe do another pool as well on VFAT. Maybe a BTC ETH pool. Getting the assets that I want. You may hate ETH, you may hate Keter, you may hate BTC, you may hate, Ethereum. That's your prerogative, not mine. Now, what I want to give an example for when we're talking about liquidity pools and how much you can earn, because people will look at this and the actual thumbnail of this video shows, you know, someone with a 50K portfolio of earning 7K. You can see you can do it. If you just scale this up and you run the same figures, if you had 33,000 in a portfolio, that could be earning 8,800 in monthly rewards instead of 884. And you could have earned, by setting this up 2 days ago, instead of earning $64 in a short space of time, you could have earned $640 in that short space of time. And you don't have to reinvest it, you know? Send it to a different wallet. You've made $640 rather than just holding on to your crypto, doing absolutely nothing. That is the key. That is the key. So if we were to look at what is impermanent loss and how does this graph relate to this? And what is this? So this here, let's just say this is a pool. And if we go over to one of the platforms that people use, that I use, Orca. And this is one of the most common pools on here. And on this pool, a lot of people may have got out of range and started panicking about impermanent loss. So what we're going to do, let's just say you set up a pool in Orca, and let's just say, don't know why it's done that. Let's just say this was your range at the time. Right? Let's just say that was your range. You could have set this up a couple of months ago and you've put the upper range as 200, you put the bottom as 100. You've got estimated yield 120%, which could be, you know, could be anything. It depends what you have. And if you deposited, let's 11K, that's earning you $422 a month, 13K a year. Quite a wide range, but I'm not looking at particular yields. I'm looking to address impermanent loss and how, looking at my particular pool here, how with a deposit you would say of 33,000, 10 times mine, can earn you $640 in a couple of days, 8,000 a month, which is insane. I know. How does it work? So let's just say this is your pool, because you can visually see stuff better on Orca. That's why I'm using it. So minimum price 100, max price 200. So we're going to go over on here, and we're going to put a little scale at the side. So 200 is your upper bound, 100 is your lower bound. And then you've got the scale. Let's just put a line. Right, and this is the scale here. Don't know why it's crooked. Right, hide that. Make that a bit fatter. Right. Now, this is the scale of the pool. When you start a pool, you usually start with an equal upper and lower boundary. Okay? Most times. And for the sake of this example, we will. So that means if you had, say, some Solana, you deposit in this pool, this is what it would look like. You've got 4 Solana, an equal amount in USDC, right? Right in the middle here, and your balance of the pool is 50-50. And what happens is, throughout time, as the price goes up or down, relative, this will be Solana to USDC, the composition of the pool would change, right? So if it goes to the upper side, yeah, goes towards 200, you can easily see on here what would happen. So where we are now, you can see that it's 92% Sol at the lower boundary, 8% USDC. So as it goes down, like this, there is 92% Sol on the lower boundary, 8% USDC. As it goes down, it sells the USDC into Solana. Yeah. So what that means is, if you were to go out of range, you'll be holding in this pool just Solana. Yeah. So this is what your pool would look like. So really, you're back to where you started. Okay. You're left with your Solana. Now, the other way, it goes to the upper side. And as the pool swings the other way and goes upwards, what it's doing is selling your Solana into USDC. So then you're left with just a USD amount, no Solana. Now, what are the ramifications of either? Because it could be classed as impermanent loss either way. And it's this here. So if you just held, you follow this line here. Yeah? This is the line you follow. There's no difference all the time. But, and then obviously that's the middle of 50-50 one. The value will be slightly higher if you just held that Solana, okay? Because the price of Solana has gone up. But if the price goes down like it is now, you'll have slightly more Solana. So as the price goes up on this scale, you have got more Solana holding, the value is higher. But if it goes down, you're actually better off in the liquidity pool. And why is that? That is because as the liquidity pool goes down in price, it sells one asset to the other. So as it goes down, as it goes up, sorry, it's selling into USDC. As it goes down, it's selling into Solana. So you're never going to have the exact amount, because at the moment, if you were in this pool, you would have a composition of 92% Solana, 7.8% USDC. Now, the ramifications either way is you go out of range now. Let's just say it goes under 100 on this particular example, and you're left with this Solana. So you're back to where you started, really, but you'll probably have more value because you've been DCAing back into it rather than just holding it. You're buying it at a cheaper price. Now, obviously, the idea is if you set this pool up, back here, you would have generated a decent amount of fees. You're left with some Solana and you've made money. Happy days. Yeah. And then it's your decision whether or not it comes back into the range. Because if you look historically, if we zoom out, you know, it could come out, go back in. It depends how tight you want to look at it. Touched out of it there, then went back in. It could touch out of it here and go back in, or it could go lower. And I'm going to talk about rebalancing in a minute because people are unsure when to rebalance. So if we go the other way and it goes too far up, then you're left with USDC. But this is where people don't understand it. What this has actually done for you with the price going to the upper side and selling to USDC is it's actually dollar cost averaged out for you. So you would say, oh yeah, well, I've got more value originally in Solana. It's like, yeah, but you wouldn't have sold that, let's be honest. And then again, you have to make a decision whether to rebalance. However, again, you will not lose out technically if you've been in the pool with a wide enough range for a decent amount of time and gathered enough fees to compensate that gap. And the gap is this bit here and this bit here. And that is why you need to set a range that is sensible enough. Now, what happens with rebalancing? Because what a lot of people will do, and this is where it screws them over, is they'll think, right, let's just say the price of Solana goes to 80. Yeah? What people will do and let's just move some of this across and let's get the scale back here. So we've gone out of range and we're at 80, yeah? So what most people will do let's just say that what most people will do now is, again, they'll set the range in the middle. But remember, they were left with this Solana. They then need to split, if you're going 50-50, the Solana again, like this. Because remember, you're splitting it at a lower rate. And then they'll do a new range, which will be, say, maybe 150 to whatever half that is. 50. Yeah, let's just say this is 75, so it's bang. Not 75. 25. Yeah, let's just say they sent the new range 50 to 100, so it's completely 50-50 again. But then they're putting less in because they've withdrawn from the pool 100% Solana. Then they're going back in and swapping half of that Solana for USDC. When really, what would make more sense is withdrawing from the pool. Let's get that off. And actually setting a range about there. A bit lower. So maybe like 90 and then still have the same top. So in theory on here, if we're using these, you would then say, so the composition of this is 91% Sol. If we moved this to a new range of just underneath 90, we're getting some we're putting most of our Sol back in. We're not swapping it. We're only putting 80% in, and the rest is USDC instead of 50-50. So we're actually saving on some money by not selling our Solana, half of our Solana cheaper. If that makes sense. Can get complicated, and this is why we have the weekly calls in the group, and this is why you have to understand positioning. You have to understand impermanent loss, and you have to understand how to rebalance a portfolio and if to rebalance. Okay. A lot of people freak out when it does go out of balance. And this is where education is important, especially the comments section. Now, this is again why, and I'm using, there are better rates, to be honest with you, on VFAT in terms of the farms, the pools, for example, because the chains have a lot more opportunity for different rewards on far more chains than Orca. And again, if you're unsure of any of this, you can. Let me just get it up. And I'll put it in the comments. You can either download my free DeFi playbook, which you could have a look through. And there's a lot of good stuff in there if you want to access it. And again, if you're interested in joining us in the community in the 10K fast track, you want to get yourself set up, you want to fast track your learning, you want to understand everything better, just book a call with the team and then you can join the group and get earning, get earning in the group, join the weekly calls, and there's a lot of stuff to learn, but we basically help you and hold your hand. So if we were to look at, so the example that I used there was a Solana USDC pool, which is a variable asset to a stable asset. And a lot of people will switch to asset to asset. So for example, this one is wrapped ETH to Solana. Yeah. But you can see there's a wider range on here, to be fair. It's not a great thing. You can see how it has stayed quite stable in this area, which is asset to asset. But this is where you got to do your homework and see which assets usually stay with each other. So a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll go on farms, they'll go on pools, they'll go on VFAT, and they'll look at these here, which are the main two assets, right? The main two assets, which are Bitcoin and Ethereum. And they'll say, right, well, these two correlate with each other quite well because it's the gold and silver of crypto. And what I'm going to do is pair them together in a liquidity pool. Find one with a decent rate. And then look at the width, find one that works, adjust if necessary, and then deposit the assets, and you're good to go. And that's it. That's how it works. You just got to be sure of what to do when you're rebalancing, what to do when it goes out of range, and what to do when everything's not going well. Because this is where people lose money. They panic, they make the wrong decision, they do the wrong thing, and then they lose. So this is why doing your research and looking into different pools that are available is a smart thing, right? I know a lot of guys that just want to do a Solana pool, and that's good. But again, you need to look at the different ranges available and also look at what is a sensible risk reward ratio to get in at, in terms of how long is it going to be in range and what is realistic for your portfolio. You know, I mean, 6.2% may not seem much, but if you're compounding it, it's certainly better than, you know, over the year, that's 189%, which is insane. And if you've got, let's put a bit more. You know, you got 20K, that's 1,300 a month that you don't have to compound. You can just take it, you know, on this particular composition. So to kind of summarize with this, and I hope it wasn't too complicated, it's like if the price goes down, which is what people worry about most, you're literally going to hold the same asset anyway. So if you put Solana in a Solana USDC pool, if you got 8 Solana put in, you're going to end up with Solana, right? But you have more Solana than you had initially because you've DCA'd back into it with USDC, and plus the fees that you would have earned from the pool. This is why if you, one, get into a shitcoin pool that has tight ranges, you lose. If you get into a normal pool like Solana USDC with tight ranges, you lose. So there's a few variables that you need to get right when going into these pools. But once you know, that's it. The world's your oyster. Yeah. And if you take the time to learn and understand how the mechanisms work, then let's be honest, it beats this. It beats the NPCs. You know? Spoke about all of this in the last one because 99% of people we know will end up doing this. That maybe that's variable, but pretty much that, and that. That's going to happen. And that's not what I want to do. I don't know about you. And again, it's not just about doing this. Most people follow the same kind of downgrading life mentality, which I spoke about in the other one, which is this. This is what they'll say to you. Don't buy Starbucks, don't eat out, don't go on holiday or vacation, buy everything secondhand, save as much money as you want, and you might be able to retire earlier. You might. Yeah? And this is what this NPC in this comment on the video that I shared about this guy basically stating that, this old guy on Instagram, saying that that's the biggest scam. Yet there will be people like this. Live cheap. Don't buy that pricey car. Get your flat screen TV off Facebook. Choose a profession which is flexible and you enjoy. That's probably the only thing I agree with. Don't get that latest iPhone. Now, I understand about spending it on what actually makes you happy. I get it. But the premise of this comment, the NPC here, is live stingy and you might be able to retire early. That's the mindset of the majority of people. And when you show them stuff like this, where is it? When you show them the DeFi pools, they'll just say it's a scam. I went out the weekend and tried to convince people to get into crypto, to get into YouTube, make some money online. This is pretty much the response. Nobody's bothered to learn anything. Nobody's bothered to try anything new. Everything's a scam to them, unfortunately. And this is what you hit with again. Here's the book of excuses. Anything that's not a 9 to 5 is a scam. Anyone making money online is a scam. That's pretty much the thought process. This as well, if you've watched it, if you've read this is the book that I read on a sun lounger that is 100% going to change your life. This book. Order it now if you're watching. This is the best book I've read so far. And it completely changed my mindset. So if you want to read something that changes your mindset, if you want to make money online, it may not even be in crypto, just anything, read this book because it's the #1 book I've ever read. And I recommend it to every single person to look at. So in 2026, again, 1 month has already gone. But take action with something and stick to it. Don't be the NPC that does nothing. How many people do you know that will just do the exact same thing this year that they did last year? Over and over and over and over and over again. It's just a non-stop doing the same thing over and over again. And that's where we are, unfortunately. People just doing the same thing over and over again and not trying anything new. And it's the same with the guys. I spoke about it so many times about guys holding on to coins. I mean, this one here rings a bell, actually. I remember this in the last bull run. Look at it. And people that held this coin in 2025 will, unfortunately, keep holding this coin in 2026. Look at it throughout the years. 23, done nothing. 24, done nothing. 25, done nothing. That's the last 3 years. Insane. There's so many coins like this. When they'll laugh at people that have the higher market cap coins, and I mentioned Solana in my example, but imagine, look at the price action of Solana. If you're generating this and you genuinely believe in it, and you're earning from the liquidity pools that are available to you, you're beating the guy that's DCing into the coin that's going to oblivion. Let's be honest. And again, with this, you don't have to keep Solana when you generate it. You can just swap it all into USDC and then live your life, you know. Send it to a hot wallet linked to a debit card and spend it. Oh, there's many things you can use your crypto for. You can book vacations, holidays with crypto now via various websites. You can buy gift cards with crypto. Easily done. Anyone watching this now, the 6 guys watching, you could start this now and be earning money straight away. And even like me, I set mine up, this particular one, a couple of days ago. I could do what I want with this $65. I can just take it out now. You know? I could reinvest it or I could take it out and spend it. And if you're worried about taxes, how am I going to track all this? I use Coinly for tracking my crypto, and I'll be using it to track everything, and I can pay my taxes at the end of the year. I mean, that's just me. I know people don't want to do that, but for guys worrying about how am I going to do my taxes, use a tax software like Coinly, and you can do that. But always remember that impermanent loss doesn't mean permanent loss. Yeah? Just remember that. But that's it from me today. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the stream. If you want to book a call, link in description. If you want my free DeFi guide, link in description as well. I will be doing a stream tomorrow, 6 p.m. UK time, a bit longer. But other than that, I will see you guys very soon. Cheers for watching.